Hello and welcome to another episode of the Meeples and Miniatures Miniature Review Show with me, Neil Shook. In today's show we're going to be looking at another release from the Plastic Soldier Company. This company has been fairly prolific over the last few months in bringing out kits of armoured fighting vehicles, and these two kits have been long awaited and eagerly anticipated, I should add. These are two boxes which are variants of the Hanomag 251 armoured personnel carrier, which was used by the Germans throughout the length of World War II. Here we have two different variants. We have the C variant and then the later D variant. You see the two here together. The C variant was actually apparently fairly complex to build because the number of different slopes it had on its bodywork. They were designed to help protect against small arms fire, but actually became quite complex to build. So the D variant is much more noticeable because it has a single sloping back end. That was essentially, and the way they changed the body as well, it was a lot easier to produce. And that's why the 251D came out, and that is probably the most well-known variant of this particular half-track. However, as I say, with these two kits you've got the opportunity to build the earlier C or the slightly later D variant. So let's start by taking a look at the sprues. As you see, these are actually, fairly complex kits. There's a lot of parts in these, at least as much as in the, you might think, the more complicated tanks, but some of these, there's a lot of stuff in here. Sprues very similar between the 251C and the 251D. The primary difference you will note as we look between the two is essentially the hull design. Also, just say some of the hull plates, and that is the main design feature. Difference is the tracks, the chassis, and the crew figures are very similar. We'll take a tour around the vehicles and we'll chat about putting them together. Basically, the vehicles are relatively simple to put together. I actually think they're easier than a couple of the tanks I put, although it has to be said, putting together some of the interior seating and stuff is just a little bit tricky. When you're putting all the hull together and everything, you have to make sure you do things in a particular order. There is the opportunity to place a driver and gunners and also seated passengers in the half track, so you can either have them as I've modelled them here, completely open with no crew whatsoever, or you could either model them to the point where they have a full complement of crew and troops modelled inside them. On the whole, as I say, very simple to put together. Each of these probably took me about 15 to 20 minutes, something like that, using bog standard styrene glue. Again, they're a little bit light, maybe. As you can see, the kits generally go very well together. Not too much in the way of mould or mould lines, flash, that sort of thing. These probably need a little bit of more cleaning up than what you've got at the moment, but generally, they go together really easily. You've got the option to have two weapons, obviously two 7.62mm machine guns, front firing and rear firing. The front has a gun mantle. The rear one is mounted on an anti-aircraft mount. You'll notice the difference as we look at the 251D. This one hasn't got a rear gun. The reason being is that while I was in the process of taking the kit off, the rear gun actually broke in two. So, one thing to highlight is that some of these pieces are a little bit delicate. You've got to be a little bit careful as you're snipping stuff off the sprue that you don't get the odd breakage here or there. That said, I think the level of detail is generally very good. As I say, they go together really well, and once they're put together, I think they really do look the business. I'm looking forward to putting some more of these together and getting some paint on them. They are, as you can imagine from a plastic kit, somewhat lightweight, so you don't have so much of an option of weighing these down in the way that you would potentially do with tanks. I suppose one of the options might be to put some sort of weight onto the bottom of the hull if you were bothered about how much heft the model actually had. But generally, I don't find them a particular problem. Again, as far as cost-wise is concerned, I think these are tremendous value for money. As of the new price increase, which I think is coming at the end of January for Plastic Soldier Company, these will end up being £17.50 for 5 vehicles in 15mm scale, which is what these are. And they're going to be looking to produce them, I believe, in both 20 and potentially 28mm as well further down the line. Again, it's nice to know that Plastic Soldier Company have been responding well to requests from their customers for what they want. 251C and D, obviously, huge numbers of these were produced, especially for the Panzer Grenadier companies, and so, especially once you start to get into a lot more late war stuff, you do need an awful lot of these vehicles. So it's nice that they're produced early, especially with their other production runs of Panzer IIIs and Stug 3s, and also the just released Panther. You now have a really good solid base for a Panzer unit. You got the Panzer IV, the Panzer III, the Panther, and also the Stug 3, and 2 different variants of Hanomag. Even ignoring the fact that most people at some point will want a Tiger, you have with those 6 armoured vehicles pretty much all that you'd need for the majority of a Panzer company. So, excellent kit from Plastic Soldier Company, easy to put together. As I say, a couple of bits a little bit delicate, but very well manufactured, and I can't recommend these highly enough. I really do like what the Plastic Soldier Company have done putting together these models, and I would highly recommend them. Excellent stuff from the Plastic Soldier Company. You can get them from several different places these days, available from the Plastic Soldier Company website. One extra thing to add at this point, obviously we have the basis here with 2 different models of the 251. Something that has been promised that they'll be doing this year is that they're going to be producing variant sprues. Obviously, there are an awful lot of different variants for the 251. I think if you start looking around, there's something like 23 different variants of the 251. Obviously, some of the more well-known being the 251-10, 251-9 Stummel, the Pioneer vehicles, 251-7, also the 16 Flampanzer and the 17, the 2cm pedestal mounted anti-aircraft gun on the back, to name a few. And it has been promised, as I say, that there will be some extra sprues released to go alongside these kits, and there will simply be conversion kits, so you can convert your models into some of the various different Panzer variants that you will require for your standard Panzer army. For example, once you start looking at Panzer Grenadier platoons, most people will require a 251-10. I'm looking forward to this coming out. We haven't got a release date for that sprue yet, but I'm hoping that will come sometime in the very near future. Well, that's it for this review. I hope you've enjoyed it and you found it useful. I look forward to having your company again for another miniature review in the near future. Take care for now, happy gaming, and I'll see you soon. Bye!